TOA community, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Robert Linkle, trainingtheolderadult.com. I want to talk to you today about stereotypes. I found this article, 10 stereotypes about aging that just aren't true. That just ain't true, y'all. Okay, you know why this came about? Because of this picture. Everybody know who this is? Anybody know? Take a guess. She's famous. She's infamous. She's so famous, she's infamous. She's infamous. This is my mother-in-law. Okay, this is my mother-in-law, Janine, J9, as I affectionately, lovingly call her, because we're on the same team, she and I. Janine is in New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Nevada? What's the other one? All 4 states, right? I think those are them, all 4 states. And she's down in this push-up position. She sent me this text message, and she says, and I quote, okay, some guy said it was cool while I was getting my picture taken. And then he said, but now you're gonna have to get up from here. Not quite as easy, is it? And she says, I did it quite easily. I just popped up. Why? Because I trained. So she was giving me a compliment. But what this brought to my attention was all of these stereotypes that people basically lump in with the idea of being old. Because you're an older person, oh man, it's exhausting to get up and down off the ground. Everybody, when they get up out of a chair, you gotta grunt and make noise when you get up and down because it's exhausting to get off the ground. Oh man, you're really getting old. I can't see as far as I used to, and I definitely can't lift what I used to, and or be energetic and excited, or speak loudly, or do anything that is somewhat out of character for an older individual because we created all these stereotypes that go along with aging. So my purpose for this video is, number one, to give some props to Janine, okay, because it's pretty awesome. She popped down and got up from this position in sandals, by the way, in sandals. That's a superstar. Fall risk, crushed it, okay? No fall risk here. But it's to kind of nip in the bud all of these stereotypes that go along with aging and maybe ask people to stop making them, right? Quit throwing these ideas out there, even if we mean them jokingly. The problem is we continue to carry them on even if we're making a joke. Oh man, I'm getting old. Every time we say something like that, you feed into the stereotype, and it's something that subliminally you put into your mind all the time and putting yourself at a disadvantage. Now, sometimes we use it, I think, as a joke, and of course we mean it as a joke, but you also mean it as a little bit of a diss or a little bit of a knock to ourselves. Okay, another family member of mine, father-in-law Mike, will often say, oh, I can't do what I used to do because, you know, I'm getting older, trying to give himself a reason why he wasn't able to do 75 push-ups. He was only able to do 71. You're missing the point that he did 71 push-ups at age 70. Do you know how freaking amazing that is? Do you know that less than 1% of our population could do that, 70 push-ups? I'm not talking about 70-year-olds. I'm talking about all of our population. Less than 1% of them could do 70 push-ups. And at age 70, you did 71. But then we make an old joke that, well, I couldn't quite get 72, or, oh, maybe I wasn't going all the way down, you young fellas. It's those comments that put down the efforts rather than just simply saying, I'm very proud of my effort at 70. I put in a lot of hard work for this. End of story. Okay, so let's look at this article. First one, older people aren't interested in the outside world. Okay, we're all a bunch of Clint Eastwood sitting and get off my lawn, and we just want to hermit into the house. Not the case. People want to travel. People want to get out. Sedentary lifestyle for a little bit was maybe required in 2020, and it definitely didn't help anybody to do the flatten the curve 2 weeks plus that turned into 18 plus months. Not a political statement, just saying fact. It did not help people to be asked to stay in their homes and not get up and move about because most people didn't. I think sarcopenia numbers went through the roof because of this, okay? But because of that, we're not also to assume that people want to do that, okay? They don't want to just sit around because they're old and they're grumpy. Grumpy old men too. You're not doing us any service either with some of these stereotypes, okay? Older people don't want or need close relationships. Completely false, okay? It's been my experience that older populations, older people start to value their close relationships because they're starting to lose them. They're seeing their friends one by one start to pass away. And so they find themselves pulling closer to the ones they still have left, which ultimately makes it harder when they do lose them. This can be a family member, a friend, just simply a colleague or a neighbor, right? They're constantly reminded of an ever enclosing and impending doom of death that's coming right around the corner. But if you watch maybe the show Limitless with Chris Hemsworth and Dr. Peter Attia and look at the last episode, I think it's chapter 6 or 7, whatever the last one was, and they look at having a new outcome and a new thought process for the death experience. It's a beautiful chapter. It's something that the entire series by itself changed the way that I think about a lot of things and definitely had a major impact. I'm not going to say changed my life, but definitely had a major impact on how and why I think and feel about certain things. And the experience or the death process is one of them. This shouldn't be something that we're afraid of or we're scared of or we aren't prepared for. It should be something that is talked about and something that is prepared for and something that's discussed. So when it does happen, those that are left behind know what to do, how to do it. Things are covered in details and taken care of. They feel better about that experience because we've talked about it. It's been out in the open. It's something that wasn't scared, tucked away, and not discussed. It was taboo. It was something that if we thought about it or talked about it, would make it happen sooner. These are simple stereotypes and things that are not factual, okay? So we want to discuss these things because this process is going to come for all of us. Unfortunately, as we get older, we are reminded of it more, and that's where these relationships with the people around us actually grow stronger. Number 8, older people contribute little to society. Completely wrong. A lot of the older individuals in our community, they spend more time giving back to this community, to this society, to the folks around them than not. They're social. They talk to their neighbors. They engage with other people. And a lot of them maybe don't have as many people around in their circle anymore, and they'll put in extra effort to come out and be social and engage with others. From volunteering their time and efforts to their money and their services. Handymen, handywomen, babysitting, cooking, baking, all of these things, reaching out to the community and not asking for anything in return. Older people want to be a part of their community. They don't want to be ostracized and thought that they're grumpy old folks that don't want to have engagements and interactions with others. Number 7, as you get older, you get more set in your ways. I would suggest that some of these created mindsets of stubbornness, but older people are also investing more time in reading and self-help and discovery and improving themselves as best as they can. Now, life's experiences definitely have an influence on us and make us feel and think certain ways, but those that are open-minded, that take time to educate themselves and think about things in a different way, discuss and have open discussions with others and people around them, may change their opinion. Definitely if they're retired and experiencing more challenges or more circumstances in life. As of this video, June 2023, there's all kinds of things going on in the world to discuss, to learn about, and to express and create opinions about. Okay, older people, just like all the rest of us, willing to learn and change their opinions. Number 6, mental and physical deterioration are inevitable in old aging. Sarcopenia, osteopenia, obesity. The big 3, they are coming for all of us. How rapid is that decline? That's up to you. From age 35 on, there's going to be a decline. The body is going to start to lose to gravity. However, we get to decide how severe that is. It's not inevitable. You are not going to get to a point where you have to be bedridden, where you have to use a cane, where you cannot depend on your own abilities to move about this world, where you're going to have to depend on someone else. That doesn't have to happen. You could be 105 and be completely self-sufficient and independent if you take all the steps necessary. Age 30 to be a stud when you're 50, at 50 to be a stud when you're 80, at 80 to be a stud when you're 105. And that includes resistance training, conditioning, cognition training, proper sleep, proper nutrition, hydration, social interactions. All of this builds a healthy mind and body. But you need to go through those steps. And you need to make that a regular, consistent practice. That is wherein lies the key to these successes, is consistency. It is not inevitable. Older people are comfortably are comfortable and financially are comfortable financially. Jeez, are illiterate apparently. No, are comfortable financially. This is a natural assumption, okay? That all old people have money, that they've all taken the steps to retire with this huge, lump of gold, and they're ready to go out and travel the world, and then they're just going to hoard their little funds and only do, this is not true. Some definitely are, and many people do invest, and and with Social Security and anything else, they're very financially comfortable, but not all. Okay, not all. Some folks are going to need their Social Security from month to month, and in those cases, it's still not enough. Some will have to work even past years of their original career, and their retirement will need to take up a now second job or a second career. So this assumption is another one that many people will make and assume, oh, you've got all the time in the world, you're retired, you've got money, you can afford it. Let's go ask the neighbor for money for any fundraiser, financial, etc. we have. Not always the case, okay? Keep that in mind. Number 4, older people aren't interested in sex or intimacy. Another one. What is the leading drug of purchase right now, legal drug of purchase right now, outside of marijuana in this country? It is Viagra or Cialis, okay? This is a very normal and very consistent thing that people want to do at any age. Sexuality and intimacy are two things that bring us closer to our spouse, to our loved ones, to making us feel good about ourselves and about our relationships with others. Just because you're getting older shouldn't mean that you do it any less, or that you have to retire from that process as well. Now, you are going to have to take some considerations into your body. I'm 40 and I have to take in considerations in my body to not hurt my back and not tweak my hip and not throw out my shoulder while I'm enjoying some time. But this is something that we are going to prioritize in our lives because it's important. Okay? Physical, emotional, and intimacy is just as important as our emotional connections, our discussions, our love, our relationships with others. This is all a huge part. And just because we're getting older doesn't necessarily mean that this part of our lives are going to start to fade away and die. Number 3, older people can't make good decisions about important issues. Just because you're getting older, it means that naturally your cognition, your mind, your decision making is going to start to decrease. This is not the case. Not everybody that gets older starts to lose their mind. This is another very mean, hurtful stereotype that does occur. Those that take the proper precautions, that train their mind, that train their bodies, and improve and focus on their health as they age, not only will their bodies stay more vertical, more upright, less of a fall risk, their minds will stay sharp. Their minds will stay engaged. You'll remember and be capable of carrying conversations and recalling words, and the things that some older populations typically struggle with will not always be the case. There are outliers in this, and those outliers are doing something specific. They're taking these steps to take care of themselves at an earlier age. And I'm sorry to beat the dead horse, or whatever the saying is, continue to bring this back up, is that resistance training, proper hydration, proper nutrition, proper sleep, cognition engagement, social engagements, taking care of your body, your metabolic health, taking care of yourselves, all key components to making sure that our minds work and grow just as well as our bodies do. Older people want to die. In some cases, this is true. Their bodies start to hurt. They are alone. Maybe they've lost all their family and friend members around them, and they do, but not all. Another very hurtful stereotype is assuming that, hey, you got one foot in the grave, may as well just, whatever the case is, whatever the saying is, whatever you're aggravated about them with. They're driving slow on the road. They're walking on the sidewalk. They're in your way when you may need to make your turn. Whatever our hurried world is pressuring and pushing about, and this older individual is in the way. Hey, you got one foot in the grave. Why don't you? It's so easy to assume these things, assume these stereotypes. We don't really think about what the other individual, that older individual, is actually feeling, experiencing, living. Maybe they do. Maybe they are clinically depressed. Maybe they are very sad. Does it mean that all people that are older are? Is that a fair assumption to make? Things to consider. That saying of, you never know what a man feels like unless you walk a mile in his shoes, something like that, right? I think maybe everybody can learn a little bit from taking that mindset. Science has answered all of our questions about aging. Definitely not. We're still in this process of trying to figure out what the most efficient, most successful, best ways are currently to age in a healthy, strong, fall risk preventing way. And as of right now, everything that I'm preaching to you and telling you is the best that I can give you. But next week, there will be something better and something more. And the week after that, there will be something better and something more. And the week after that, research will continue to develop and help us in our ways of finding ways to age more efficiently, more successfully, live longer, live taller, live stronger, live less disease-filled lives, less injury-based lives, less pain-filled lives. This is going to be a process. And though, there's a natural process to aging where we're going to start to slow down, we're going to start to lose some of our physical talents and gifts, maybe not as tall, as strong, as dense, as muscular, as fast as we were. There's definitely a process and a way of doing this, of hanging on to those things as long as we can. Some of those will be medical interventions, different drugs and medications that will help. Others will be certain strategies and philosophies that we are going to implement. Either way, science is going to help us develop these processes. Where the average person back in the 50s lived into the late 60s, nowadays we're living into the mid to late 70s, depending on where you look at your research. Some says 70, 71, others say 77, 78. Let's just call it 75. We've increased 7 to 10 years of the average individual living that much longer. Where will we be in 20 years, 40 years, 60 years? Hopefully still here, humankind, and living longer, but not living longer with a poor quality of life, sitting on a couch, unable to do anything, simply living longer. Living life capable, able, engaged, functional, out and about, and then go out with your boots on at 115, hiking up mountains, being strong, enjoying the people around you, having sex, lifting weights, living life. Just because you're old doesn't mean any of these or all of these things need to occur. So here's your list. One more time, a quick overview. All stereotypes, all hurtful things that can be said that basically a lot of folks out there are assuming this is the case. Hopefully I helped change your mind or helped at least think about these things in a different way. Maybe the next time you go to get up off the couch and you feel like you're going to grunt and make a comment about being old, maybe you'll keep that comment to yourself. Maybe you'll say, hey, at 78 years old, as a dialysis patient, 3 days a week with 2 fake hips and a heart condition and being anemic and being diabetic, I can sit down and stand up on this couch, which is 4 inches below parallel for me, 50 times and then turn to the camera and flex and call myself steel legs. Maybe that's something to be proud of, because everybody knows that was my dad, and I was sure as shit proud of that. I hope you're all doing great. I hope you found good value in this video. If you think that sharing it with someone in your family, friends, loved ones, circle of people would be valuable and they would find some entertainment or some knowledge in it, please do so. Please hit the subscribe button, ring that little bell, make sure you don't miss any of our content. Much love and appreciation to all of you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. Peace.